Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Rei-Lin with another premium tank review. This time I'm dropping it down to tier 4. It's the AMX-10P PAC 90, or the PAC 90 as I call it, or just the 10P. It's a tier 4 premium tank destroyer, and to be honest, I think it's just a wee bit overpowered for tier 4, especially once you get it decked out. Let's take a look at the stats real quick and give you a sense of why I think it's just a little bit on the overpowered side. Looking at the damage and the penetration may not give you much of a clue. 425 damage per shot with 207 millimeters of penetration. Keeping in mind these are being affected by my commander, my crew, my ammo, consumables, and retrofits. So the stock 10P does not have these stats. However, this is also using the heat ammo, which does more damage and has less pen. If I was to switch the slot, you could see that the damage will drop off to 302, but the penetration will go up to 235. Usually, since this is tier 4, you're going to meet some tier 3s, a few tier 2s, tier 5s. Your heat ammunition is more than enough to punch through pretty much anything frontally, including a few main battle tanks. Some of the tier 6s you'll struggle if you run into those, but for the most part, I PvE, and in PvE it's not too hard to find the weak points, even on the fronts of main battle tanks, and punch right through them due to the accuracy of the tank. However, if you go down here to damage per minute, you'll see it's a whopping 7,286. Now put that into perspective, the only tank that has this kind of DPM, and actually more DPM than this as a base, I just bought it and this is the DPM, is pretty much the Crab at tier 9. There are tons of tanks that once fully upgraded, even at tier 8, don't come close to this damage per minute. Now there are other tank destroyers in the game, and of course once they're decked out they do sort of match this DPM or maybe a little bit above it. But most of those don't have very good gun depression. They're wheeled tank destroyers, and a lot of people aren't too happy with the tank destroyer nerf slash buff slash rework that came with patch 0.12, where you've lost the sniper bonus now but gained damage to compensate, and a new on-use skill that increases your ability to shoot without losing camouflage value. However, since this is at tier 4, we're kind of going to focus on the stats here. Hit points, 1,000 hit points. Not a whole lot. You could pump that up if you're worried about dying in a couple of shots. This tank does come with 2 universal slots and a firepower retrofit slot, so you could bump that up slightly using some hull modifiers. I don't bother because even though it's 1,000 health, it still goes a long way at tier 4. Now, you don't want to be taking more than one shot from, like, say, a tier 6, but for the most part, you do have some mobility. You definitely have some camouflage. You're not a main battle tank. You're not a light tank. You need to sit back in the back and just wail on stuff with your massive DPM and damage per shot. Armor, I don't think it's really worth even discussing the armor. It's military aluminum. It's 48 on the hull at the front, 15 at the sides and rear, and the turret 15, 12, and 10. You're not bouncing shots in this. Every once in a while you might get a stray autocannon bounce if like a tier 2 is shooting at you, but for the most part, everything is going to penetrate you. If you get spotted, you are dead. However, the damage is not the only positive. The max speed on this thing, almost 65 kilometers per hour. That's pretty good. However, don't let that fool you. This is kind of a straight line, get from point A to point B kind of tank. Your reverse speed is terrible in this tank, as is your hull traverse, unfortunately. It is a non-wheeled tank destroyer, which is, for a lot of people, a plus. It has tracks. You can turn around on the spot and do some maneuvering that most wheeled tank destroyers can't do, so that is a plus. It does get to 32 kilometers an hour and just under 4 seconds, so it is a speedy little monster. And the camouflage, as you can see, 0.25 across the board, which is pretty damn good. Most tank destroyers have good camouflage. It has decent view range, 450 meters, but don't rely so much on spotting for yourself. You're going to hope that the light tanks and AFVs are out there spotting for you. Cannon, gun depression, 8 degrees. That's really great. That is a totally acceptable amount of gun depression, and most other tank destroyers in the game have much less than this. I think the next highest is a 6-degree gun depression on one of the tier 6 or 7 wheeled tank destroyers. So this gets an amazing amount of gun depression for a tank destroyer. 6 degrees over the rear of the tank. So it's got Russian gun depression over the ass end of the tank. That's pretty damn good. Although I don't necessarily suggest that you turn your ass end to anyone. You don't have armor, but you have significantly less armor at the rear of your hull. But to know it's there is nice in case you have to make a quick decision, somebody coming up behind you. The turret traverse is very fast, 61.5 degrees per second. But as I mentioned, even though it's not listed here, the hull traverse is crap. I'm guessing anywhere around 20 to 24 degrees a second on the hull traverse. It's very, very slow. Reload time. Now here's where this thing starts to really live up, and the reason why it has so much damage per minute. 3.5 second reload. And my crew on this is not at level 5. So right now they have an 8% boost in their skills. If we look very quickly at its Merc version, the Merc version came with a maxed out crew. It drops the reload time even further to 3.45 seconds. Otherwise, these two are exactly the same. Once my crew and the normal version of the AMX here gets up to level 5, the reload will go down to 3.45 seconds. That's blisteringly fast. That is faster than pretty much any other tank in the game for reload speed. I could go even lower than that, probably into the sub 2.5 seconds per shot. But I'm focusing mostly on damage because this is a tank destroyer. You really need to make your shots count, and they really need to hurt. But I think this is enough punishment at 7,286 DPM. The accuracy spread, 0.07. That's really good. You can get that even lower with your retrofits if you want, but you're pretty much going to be shooting and hitting every single target, no matter how far away you are. And even if you miss, you've only got to wait 3.5 seconds to shoot again. Targeting time, it's not bad, just a little over 2 seconds. You can go a little bit lower, of course, with the crew and the retrofits if you wanted to. And that is this thing as far as the statistics go. High damage, massive damage per minute, no armor, very good speed, very good acceleration, very good camouflage, decent view range, good gun depression, blisteringly fast turret traverse, and very good accuracy and targeting time. The reload time is just, it's spot on. This tank, in my opinion, it needs to be a tier 5 premium tank, because in PvE, tier 4s and below cannot get into hard mode matches anymore. And that's a problem, because the things you meet on medium just don't stand a chance in hell of out shooting you or out damaging you in this. That's just my feelings on it. It is a very, very fun little tank destroyer. We'll take a look at the commander and crew. Of course, I stick with Maximilian. He's just a very well-rounded commander, in my opinion. Let's see. We got the driver, spin to win. The whole traverse speed on this thing sucks. You need to make it a little bit better. Spin to win, everything you want. Off-road driving, again, I've mentioned this before, but off-road driving, acceleration on off-road terrain increased by 10%. There's no reason not to take this on every vehicle you have, whether it's tracked, whether it's wheeled, whether it's a main battle tank or an AFV. You need to have this. In my opinion, there's nothing better than these two skills right there. Rapid fire. This thing does shoot very, very quick. It reloads very fast. I don't see a reason to not take this and make it even faster. So that is what I go for. 5% reduction in reload time. Quick draw. The aim speed, just a little over 2 seconds, but that's with quick draw and a few of my consumables. But 10% aim speed, it's always good to be able to get the aim speed down. The accuracy really good. You won't have to aim that long to get a very good, even if you don't go to the maximum of your accuracy. This just speeds it up that little bit further. You fire fast. You can outgun anyone else except for another AMX-10P. But I would suggest going with quick draw. Ammunition loadout, it's under tier 6, so I load a lot more heat than AP. This is personal preference. I see no reason to take a lot of AP on this tank because it's just so much damage that you can pump out that even if the first shot doesn't go exactly where you wanted it and they happen to bounce a heat and do no damage, your next shot's going to go through. I mean, you don't want to sit around shooting at the front of tier 6 main battle tanks, but this thing has the speed and maneuverability that it doesn't really need to do that. So, personal preference on how much you take. This does get, if we go to the upgrades, you can see it does get 1 smoke grenade. So, if you get spotted and you're out of position, you have at least one chance to go hidden for a little bit and hopefully make it back out alive. Consumables, just like in my other 2 reviews, I stack this thing. It is a premium tank, so it does make more money on every battle. I go with spare parts. It gives a passive to repair speed by 10% and increases it. Energy drink, a 5% boost to all of my crew skills for 1 battle. It's a little bit expensive, so use your best judgment. If you're trying to make money, probably don't want to use the energy drink. You might want to go with the fire extinguishers or maybe even the protein bar. Fires, I've mentioned in the past, not very much in PvE. In PvP, it might be a little bit different, but I've never been caught on fire in this tank in particular, and I've played a lot of games in this thing. Medical kit increases the crew resilience by 15%. It makes it nearly impossible to get your crew killed, even if you get smacked by 3 already, if you survive. But if you do lose a crew, this will put all of them back in, but it's very hard to lose them with that extra resilience. Plus, having Maximilian as your commander to increase their health of your crew, it's just a very, very good buy for me. PvE, this is a mid-tier. I suggest always bringing low, mid, and high-tier field maintenance kits. Heals your tank for 20% of its maximum health and completely gives you back all of your ammunition. You're good to go as long as you bring this along. Retrofits, favorite part. I went down the Russian tank line, so I have access to Experimental Propellant Mark III. That's a 7.5% damage increase. If you don't want this, you could increase the hull so you have more health. You could increase the engine so you have better traverse speed. All of those things are very viable if you don't want to focus on the damage like me. Personal preference on that. I also use the Chrome Barrel Mark III, which gives me another almost 5% damage increase and increases my minimum accuracy. So even after I fire and I'm on the move, the circle isn't as big as it normally would be with this. So again, I mainly took it for the damage. Advanced thermal sleeve, reload time 6%. This could, since it is another firepower slot, these first 2 are universals. This is an actual firepower slot. I could increase the damage a little bit more. Like this, I could put the actuator on it and get another 4% damage boost if I really wanted to push this. I just went ahead and put the advanced thermal sleeve on there because I definitely want to get the reload down as quick as I can. For me, the damage is more than enough to two-shot almost any other tank, especially at tier 4, most tier 5s, and a few tier 6s. You can two-shot them. There's very little reason to boost the damage much further because you can't really, as far as I know, actually one-shot any tank in the game. You'll always do a maximum of like 98% of their health or something like that. So even if I did 800 damage a shot and hit something that only had 500 health, I'm still only going to do like 490 damage to them. So might as well get the reload time down, and so I can dish it out just a little bit quicker. And that, in a nutshell, is what I use, and that is pretty much all you need to know about this little beast of a tank. It is an excellent tank destroyer. But I will mention one last thing, is the cost. 1,000 gold. Now that the in-game purchase gold screen comes up just like this, you only gonna have to fork over $5 USD. And that gives you 1,000 gold and gets you this tank. I think that's an extremely good buy because this tank is very, very, very powerful. Even if you don't set it up just like me for damage, this thing is just too good to pass up. It's a lot of fun. It's really fast. It's going to piss off everybody that you're playing with in PvE. So just keep that in mind, that you are going to be doing a lot of damage, and most people are going to be kind of sad that they don't get very much damage because you're going to hog it all. But if you want to see me hogging some damage, stick around. I'll see you on the battlefield. Here we are on the Dire Wolf map. This is shortly after patch 0.12 it came out, and they had made the adjustments to the bot spawns. I already ran the 10P90, my normal version, once on this map already, and so I queued up immediately again, so I got the same map after learning kind of where the spawns are going to be in the 10P90 Merc edition. Statistic wise, there's no difference between the two tanks. It's just got a cool paint job, and we start off going straight into it and just opening up on these tanks. These are mostly tier 1s and 2s. There's M41. He has no armor. None of these tanks are going to stand a chance against the gun on the 10P. Just kind of vying for damage here. You can easily see that I take over 3/4 of everything's health off in pretty much one shot. Now that I don't have to wait on the full aim, because I no longer get the sniper bonus from aiming fully, I get it pretty much just from every normal shot. I can take a lot quicker shots without being fully aimed. We're just kind of vying for position here. We got a tank up there. Nobody's made the decision to go ahead and climb the hill to go get him. Yeah, you can just see by the damage. I mean, that is BMD1, no chance. Here's a Scorpion. He already took one hit. I finish him off. We're still waiting to see who wants to climb the hill. Take a little bit of a hit. I'm not sure how he shot through the wall, but looks like a Bagel Panzer. I call it the Bagel, and he comes right on into all of our fire. I take 3/4 of his health in one shot. I couldn't remember if that was all of the spawns. It seemed like there were more spawns the last time that I ran this map, just a few minutes before this replay. And so I came over here just kind of searching. You can see right there just how crappy the whole traverse speed is. I couldn't even make a turn without running into a bunch of stuff. Something spawns on the other side of the hill back there. Got guys going for it. They did not seem to change the positions of the cap circles, so I came over here and noticed that the rest of my team wasn't coming over here, and I got a little bit worried, because the last time I ran this map, we kind of got overwhelmed on this point, and it is easy to get overwhelmed at this point. But I go ahead and get into my normal sniping position up here on this hill. But the spawns have changed just a little bit, and stuff started spawning much quicker out here to the north. He got spotted. I go ahead and push forward and just take him out. And you can already tell just how decent the view range on this is. I can see almost all the way over to the far western side of the map, and which is good. Helps me spot another Bagel Panzer. And two-shot him. There is Artie shooting at me, but he's a very bad shot, so I sort of ignore it. M41 again, no chance at two-shot him. Artie is hitting me again. You see he's just not doing enough damage for me to care at the moment. I'm just trying to not move and more or less just hog the damage. It's very easy to do in this. As you can see, somebody, and it's a Scorpion, hits one of my buddies. I go in for the revenge. He gets finished off. The Scorpion actually has some decent armor for a light tank. There's another 10P90. You saw that I just took 3/4 of his health in one shot. And we just kind of start pushing around here because I want to get some more damage in. I mean, why not? Don't even fully aim. Take 3/4 of that guy's health off. We're just kind of, it's just more or less a shooting gallery. Everyone's kind of rushing around, and I was just trying to not hog the damage. 10P90 finally comes around, takes a little pot shot at our Type 59 there. He took a little bit of damage because the Type's armor is pretty good, and that finishes off this entire part of the zone. So now we're going to move into the final leg of the zone, and stuff starts to immediately spawn. Right there, I did critical track damage with my heat shell. Oh no. Oh, look, another shot, and he's already at 3/4 of his health, gone and dead. That is just how crazy good this is. We actually had some stuff spawn behind us, and there's a bagel. First shot misses, but I'm already loaded again for the next shell that's going to go right up his bum, and he's dead. I actually didn't get the full damage on that. I finished off a guy. It's a T-64 over there, it looks like. And he turns aside. Big mistake. I thought he wasn't actually dead. I thought he just disappeared, and I fired again for no reason. That's me being noobish, not paying attention. Object 430. Bam! Tracked and half his life gone. And he's finished off by our little teammate in the Type 59. Go ahead and just go full bore here. You'll see that the speed on this thing is pretty good. We're already almost to 60 kilometers. We're over 60 now. I try to fire on the move. Whiffs over the head of that enemy bot. Unfortunately, the on the move firing in Armor Warfare isn't always on your side. And I fired on the move again and just said, okay, I'm just going to stop and actually just aim at the guy. The tanks behind me really aren't much of a threat. They're either tier 2s or tier 1s. There's another Walker Bulldog, it looks like. Here's another Walker Bulldog. The M41 is just getting trashed. Boom, 2 shots, dead. Our arch nemesis, the enemy 10P90, boom, dead. And that is kind of how this is always going to go in this thing. If you deck it out for damage, another 10P90, 1 shot, and he's dead. I'm basically letting my teammates more or less just finish off every tank that I come across, because you're just going to take that much damage off of them. Looks like another M41 has spawned, and he is, of course, worried about coming out to face 3 of us at once. I don't blame him, but he's about to get destroyed. There was no way I was going to make it, and that pretty much ends this replay that quickly. Only took a few minutes to get through this game. I say GG. Everyone did have a good game on this, and you can just see why I think this tank needs to be a tier 5 just so it can get into the hard mode matches. In a tier 4 match like this, it's just really good. And here we are in the garage. I got Blue Star, Destroyer, Shooter, and Teamwork, because no one died. That's a pretty good team. But you can see, look at the damage. Over 10,000 damage I did in that match. Of course, I didn't bounce anything whatsoever. No damage was mitigated. But that's not what the point of this tank is. This point is to be a tank destroyer, and that's pretty much all I did. You can see 94,000 credits, 9,600 reputation, and it just blows everything else out of the water. If you want damage, you want high DPM, and just an overall great package for a tier 4 tank destroyer, this is the one you gotta have. It's just completely overpowered as hell, and a lot of fun because of it, I think. For $5, it's one hell of a deal. It's one hell of a tank. And that's pretty much all I have for you this time, guys. I hope you had a Merry Christmas, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please leave a little like down below by pressing that like button. Leave a comment, and if it's something that I said wrong or did wrong, let me know. I'll try to correct that in future videos. And that's it. I hope you had fun, and I'll talk to you all next time.